the false self. This is the neurotic self. We are all this banana, all of us, from age 4 to 5 on. This peeling is made up of false claims, shoulds. I should do this, I should do that. I deserve this, I deserve that. It's completely encompassing and closing. There's no way in. This is the persona, the false self that we have created around us. This is your breaking point. This is self-realization, studying, growing, changing. This is self-actualization. This is what we call finding ourselves. We're finding ourselves. We're peeling back the neurotic layers and pulling them away, cleaning it up. And this is the true self buried under the false self. It's authentic. It's transparent. It's obvious. It's vulnerable. This is the fruit. This is the soul. This is the true self. Our entire work in life is to get rid of this so that we can live this. This holds our purpose, our mission, our relationships, our happiness. This is the payoff.
Really comfortable with you all. I'm just hanging out at my housing for the hospital in Bethel, Alaska, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And yeah, I sit around my house in these clothes, and yeah, they're perfect for yoga. So you can do the same, but wear your pajamas, it doesn't matter. Just something comfortable. So my shoulders are killing me from yesterday. I had to film that twice, by the way, and so that hug a tree thing, oh boy, my shoulder needs to be stretched out. We are going to start there. And that's another reason why I love that we're doing this together. We're losing weight together. We're exercising together, because I know exactly what you need, because I did the exact same workout yesterday too, to counter everything that's going on. I'm just like reaching out, dropping your head, just let it all go soft. Let me take my socks off. I told you these floors are heated, so that's where our heat source is. So when you get down on the floor, you actually get hotter, warmer. And we keep it at 70 because it is so cold outside. I think you can see out the window. It's always white out there. The snow does not go away. I think it's a 9-month winter here. Drop your head. So yesterday we talked about the false self and what it is, and now today we're going to talk about the true self and what that is. The true self is another name for the soul. Drop your head and roll up through your spine. In psychiatry, they call it the true self. They don't use so much sacred language. So sacred language is more of the soul. We're going to do our wonderful modified pigeon from Anna Forrest. I want to give it up to her. She's the one who invented this. So I got the left leg in front. You're on the left hip. Like your entire weight is on this left hip. That's how it's different from the traditional pigeon. The traditional pigeon floats out in space. It's up here. And SI joint has an opportunity to destabilize there or get torqued or twisted. And knee is at 90 degrees, ankle is at 90 degrees, and then you're just going to lay over the front ankle or the shin, trying to get your chest as close to the mid-shin as possible. And then if you can, walk your elbows forward so you're not propping yourself up, and drop your head. Take some big inhales. If you have a hip replacement, you want to bring this leg out to the side like so, or be on a table and just drop this leg off the side. Knee replacements can do this. The knee should not hurt. It is at a 90-degree angle. It is not tucked way back here like the traditional pigeon. It's parallel. The shin is parallel to the front edge of your mat. Again, big deep breaths into your back. So I can go into lots of definitions of the soul, and they're all very romantic definitions and vague and not so specific. So we're going to look at, first we're going to look at Corinthians in the New Testament. Testament has a very, very, very famous definition. Let's look at that. But what you'll find interesting is what it's telling you it's not. And look for the 7 deadly sins here. It's telling you it's not the 7 deadly sins. It's not the topics of the 7 deadly sins. So in Corinthians it says, it's 13, 4 through 7 if you want to look it up, but it says love is the current, it says love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. Envy is one of the deadly sins. Love does not boast, that's pride, that's a deadly sin. It is not self-seeking, that's self-entitlement, another deadly sin. Which is desire. And then not easily angered. There's wrath. There's a 4th deadly sin. So it's just saying it's not that. It is not that set of topics. It keeps no record of wrongs, does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Which is lovely. But what I do like about that definition, I'm just going to put that there. What I do like about that definition is it tells us what it's not. So it is basically saying it's not the false self, it's something else. It's not the neurotic self. So the left shin is in front, the left elbow comes to the floor somewhere along the shin, and eventually it hooks at the arch. Make a fist, make a pancake, press the pancake into the fist. So you're here. When you press the pancake into the fist, you lift higher. Let me make sure that's, you know what, let me move that. And this necklace likes to hit. So you make a fist, you make a pancake. When you press the pancake into the fist, you lift the spine, neutralize the spine, twist, retract your head, make a double chin, and then kiss your shoulder to strengthen the cervical muscles. Breathe like you mean it. Big, deep breathing. This is getting tight. Big, deep breathing. So let's establish the true self is not the false self. It just isn't. So what is it? That's the important thing. So the frequency of the true self is the love frequency or the love vibration. And by frequency, I mean, like, you can feel when someone loves you. It's a frequency. And that love frequency is you can say it's the currency of the soul. Or you could even call it the currency of God. Love is what the soul uses. That's its currency. And then very slowly coming out. We're getting, leave the legs. This left arm is straight. Right thumb goes into the armpit. Hold the arm. Lengthen your spine as much as you can. Pull the belly in so that you can twist And hook the elbow at the top of the knee. Lengthen again, lengthen, and then lean into the bottom shoulder. Oh boy. And here comes that. Now you can feel the shoulder work we did yesterday in this. So we're going to skip over to psychology and psychiatry. And in psychology, they have what they call the big 5 personalities. And it came from the 40s and 50s, but it is still widely used. It is, it's the go-to list of personality traits. And there are 5: openness, conscientiousness, so conscientious, extroversion, agreeable, and neuroticism. Now I'm going to say those are the traits of the false self, of the imaginary created self that we all generate. Drop your head on this one. Big breathing. Because there is a 6th personality that psychologists cannot put in the big 5 personalities because it's not really a personality trait. So they refuse to put it in with the big 5. But it perfectly describes as what we think of as the soul. So if those 5 describe the options, because as we imagine and create our false self, we all create it differently. Some create it with more openness. Some create it with more conscientiousness. Some people create the false self with more extroversion. These are variations on a theme of a created false self. The true self is the 6th personality. The 6th personality is humility and integrity. So the attributes of humility and integrity, which are not a personality trait, but they can't put them anywhere. They can't figure out where they go. The attributes are honest, fair, modest, generous, faithful, humble, and sincere. So let's tack those on to attributes of the true self, which are different than the big 5. And then I'm going to add Karen Horney's definition. That's who we study in Neurosis and Human Growth in the curriculum there. And that curriculum is on Firmwater Road, the website. The true self is unique to each, she says. It provides true power. It has freedom from the false self. It's free of the false self. It's authentic. It has self-love and self-esteem, peace and curiosity. Those are its attributes, according to psychiatry. Come up. Oh. Walk this back foot to the front. Slow, super slow. Straighten them out, and then just windshield wiper the legs. Oh, that feels so good to windshield wiper the legs. Nice. Other side. Let's do the other side. So the right shin is parallel to the edge of the front edge of the mat. You're going to lean over the mat. Back leg just goes back as far as your body allows. It doesn't go straight. It's bent, but just back there. You just want the hip flexors on a little bit of a stretch here and the psoas muscle elongated. You're going to reach the chest over the mid shin and drop the head, walk the elbows out forward. Take big deep breaths into your back. And then lastly, Karen Horney goes deeper into what the soul is throughout the book. But this is another nice definition she has. The central inner force, the soul is the central inner force common to all human beings and yet unique in each, which is the deep source of growth. So the only thing that's able to grow and evolve is the soul. The false self is incapable of growth, and that's why it doesn't like change, because it gets stumped with change. It's not very good at change. It can't grow. So if it keeps change at bay, it doesn't have to show you that it can't grow. And you'll be happy with it and you'll keep it. It wants to stay alive. It wants to be in control. It wants to run the show. It has a life of its own. The soul is the alive forces of clarity and depth of feelings, thoughts, wishes, and interests. The ability to tap into one's own resources. So creativity is the ability for you to use your resources and be creative. That's the soul. Elbow, same elbow as leg. So I've got my right elbow, my right shin, right elbow. I'm going to walk this elbow along the shin until I get to the arch or behind the foot, wherever. This right one doesn't want to go. So make a fist with the bottom, a pancake with the top. So typically I can get here. I'm not today. That's okay. I'm behind the foot on this side, but it's a tight spot. I'm okay. They're different. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen your spine. Retract your head and look up. Kiss your shoulder. Breathe. Take deep breaths. We've got to spend 2 minutes in each of these poses. Also, the soul has the strength of a person's willpower, the special capacities or gifts he may have. So your gifts are in the soul. They're not in the false self. You won't express your gifts. You won't grow. The creativity is really tough. Change is really tough if you're residing in the false self, because it's just not capable of those things. The soul is. So another reason why you want to shift out of the false self into the true self, into self-actual. That's called self-realization. You're realizing what you are, who you are. The faculty to express yourself, to relate to others with spontaneous feelings. The soul is spontaneous. In short, he will grow towards self-realization. So there it is in a nutshell. You're going to rise up, place your right hand beside the leg, thumb under the armpit, hold the arm, lengthen your spine, hook the elbow at the top of the knee. Drop your head and lean into your left shoulder. Lean into the bottom shoulder. Breathe. Make your breath as long as possible. So what I want you to see more than anything is that the false self is completely different than the true self. And that the true self is more appealing. No pun intended. So the true self is more desirable place to be. It's a happier, healthy, this is about lifestyle medicine. So health is in the soul. When the frequencies are resonating properly, this is yoga philosophy, when the chakras are resonating properly, when the chakras are resonating at the soul level as opposed to the false self level, true health comes over the body. The frequencies of that are put out resonate with the body, and the body comes to health. Now, is that true? I don't know. It's a nice way of looking at life. But on the other hand, peace, love, harmony, experiencing your purpose, creativity, growing, all of those things seem much more pleasurable than the deadly sins of living wrath, of the false self. I choose the true self. And this is going to take work to unpeel the false self, the true self, to get the true self, unpeel the false self, to peel the false self away from the true self and toss it in the garbage just like a banana peel, leaving yourself with the pure fruit, walking through life like that. Just as our mentors that I mentioned earlier have done before, Jesus, Gandhi, Confucius, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm going to big shout out to Martin Luther King Jr. How appropriate is that? He lived his true self against lethal threats. The people I'm mentioning, Gandhi, that group, they're living their true self. They peeled away the false self, or the false self. Yeah, the false self was gone. They lived out their soul self, their true self, in the presence of people wanting to murder them. And they still did it. They're like, well, I'm doing it anyway. And I'm going to pull as many people along with me as I can. All of them did that. So how simple is it for us to do that? And nobody is threatening my life. Nobody. For me to go into self-realization. Although people don't like it, especially people close to you that don't want to self-realize, they don't care for the process, because that means they have to change too, and they're so ingrained in that false self. They think they have to have it to survive, that you're a threat at that point. Inhale, arms overhead. And those people I mentioned, especially Martin Luther King Jr., they became a threat. Such a big threat, they got rid of him. Opposite hand to foot. Drop the head. You can reach to the ankle or the shin somewhere. Now, what I've noticed is it's so appropriate to talk about, to use this for an example today because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, is I was just talking to a gentleman who works with prisoners. So I get that that's not a normal sample of the population, right? That's a very skewed sample of the population that he works with every day, all day. So his vision of people is very different than someone like me who works in a hospital. So I get that he's going to have a different opinion. But he was, he was racist, basically, and he was defending his racism. And if you watch what he's saying, it's pride, the first deadly sin, and self-entitlement, because he's white. So he's taking the deadly sin of entitlement and the deadly sin of pride. I'm better than somebody else. You're not better than anybody else. I told him. Of course I told him. We're the same. We're all the same. Ants, think of ants. I don't care if you're a black ant or a red ant. If you come in my house, I'm going to kill you. You're an ant. So our species is the same. You're a human. A human is a human. An ant is an ant is an ant. A bird is a bird is a bird. A bluebird is not better than a woodpecker. They're different, but one is not better than the other one. But in our false self, they are. Because when you land entitlement in there and pride in there, slowly roll up through your spine, inhaling. Oh, that feels good across the low back. And then switch. Foot's going to come into the side. So you're stretching here too. Reach opposite hand to foot to the outer edge of the foot, or you can come across the top if you have plantar fasciitis. Ankle, you can hold a belt here too. Drop your head. Take big, deep breaths. But once you activate, so basically, I told him you're tap dancing on 2 of the deadly sins. And he knew the deadly sins. He rattled them off to me. He's tap dancing on 2 of the deadly sins. But what happens when you tap dance on 2 of them, it like activates a vine that goes up to the heart and wraps around the heart and activates wrath, the deadly sin of wrath. And so even though you're not thinking, I want to be angry about this subject, if you're tap dancing on 2 of them, they will ignite a third, and maybe even some of the others. Envy will probably start to pop in there up at the top of the head or the forehead. But certainly the heart will be activated with the other deadly sins. So wrath, anger is going to come as a result. And he's a little angry about it. Most people are. Most races are very angry. That's always your clue. When you see somebody that's really angry about the issue, they're probably tap dancing on one of the other deadly sins to come to that conclusion. And it's triggered the wrath in their heart. And then roll up through your spine and inhaling. Because think of all the people I mentioned, you rarely saw them angry or wrathful, certainly not wrathful. Sometimes they used anger to get their point across, but you wouldn't call them angry people. Like Martin Luther King was not really an angry person. Jesus was certainly not an angry person. He got angry one time, and that was to chase out tax collectors. It was you had to do it to get rid of them. So hands down, let's stretch these shoulders. Wiggle out your tail. Actually arch, cat, cow. Inhale, exhale. So we're going to thread the needle. Left hand's going to go through the hole. You're going to interlace the fingers. Reach your hand towards the corner of your mat as opposed to straight out to the side. This is a little different. And then you're going to lay your head on your shoulder for some overpressure. You can sit all the way back if you have plantar fasciitis. Curl the toes under and sit back on them. Go ahead and do that anyway. It's nice to keep that plantar fascia at bay. And then you can wiggle around in this to find the sweet spot. So shift your hips a tiny bit and you'll go, oh, that's a little better. You must lock out the top elbow. Super extension, lock the top elbow to get the stretch on the bottom arm. Big deep breathing. So anger, Gandhi, not an angry person. Mother Teresa, not an angry person. Confucius, I can't see him being angry. Buddha, not an angry person. Do you see how wrath, anger is your cue that somebody is tap dancing on the deadly sins? They're activating them, which in turn activates the heart, the wrath, the anger. And I'll tell you what, all those people I listed had a whole lot to be angry about. So it's not that they weren't challenged. They were. They weren't in the false self. There was no wrath. There was no anger. They had peeled away the banana peel where the wrath is. They'd thrown it away. It wasn't there to tap into. Left hand on top, reach left, and then lay on the shoulder. Now, how nice would that be? Because, people who know me, I definitely get angry. I still have a lot of wrath, anger. Hopefully after this class, I shall be better. I actually listened to the and maybe we will. The anger hypnosis. We will. Let's do that today with Marissa Peer. Take some big deep breaths. Wouldn't it be nice to be rid of it? How many times have you heard this saying, it's anger corrodes the container it sits in. So if you're angry, anger inside of you is corroding you. It's hurting you more than it hurts the other person because of the frequency of it. It's putting out a frequency. You've felt an anger frequency before from someone else. Now your hands are going to come behind your head. And remember, this whole thing, you could be sitting on a stool if your knees don't tolerate this. Hands behind the head and then shift back. Walk the elbows forward and shift your bottom back. Elbows squeezed together as much as the body allows. Wouldn't it be nice not to get angry? It'd be gone. It will peel away with the false self. Breathe into your back. There's definite value in moving into the soul, moving into the true self, dismantling the false self. To get to the soul, we have to dismantle the false self because it's trapping it. It's like the banana peel. You can't get to the fruit if the peeling is protecting it. Shoulders back and down. Find your neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Pubic bone level with the hip bones. Low back is slightly arched. Knit the low front ribs together. Retract your head. Lengthen your neck. Then slide the right leg out long and lift. Use a ha sound. Press down into the left hip to level out the pelvis. You want equal pressure on both sides of your pelvis, and it uses the abdominals to do that. Inhale, exhale with a ha. And switch. Lengthen the leg. Lift, hover just a couple of inches off of the ground. Press down into the right hip this time. Lengthen the back of the head. Use a ha sound. Ribs together. Honestly, I have studied and studied and studied and studied all of this stuff from every angle, from Harvard to Boston University to yoga philosophy to workshops with yoga masters, and I've been studying it. It's in my head. It's all in my head. It doesn't help for it to be in your head. You have to walk it out in lifestyle. And so I'm going to walk, I know the answers, but that doesn't do me any good unless I walk it out. So I'm going to walk it out. I am starting to do the application with you during these weeks. I'm going to walk out what I know with you. And losing weight is part of that. The body reflects what's going on inside. So weight on your body is an insulation. You know, you get warmer when you have weight. Fat insulates your body. So we like to insulate ourselves from the truth, from change, from everything going on around us. But once we start to liberate the soul, we don't need the fat anymore. We don't need the insulation. We're insulating ourselves from other frequencies. So all the frequencies around us, you see it in nursing. You know, there's a lot of heavy nurses, but they're insulating themselves from these illness frequencies that are coming at them all day long. Relax. So you can't, when I see an overweight healthcare professional, I'm like, oh, they're insulating themselves. So what is the solution to weight loss? Well, yeah, it is calories in, calories out, which is what we're doing. But that's hard to do unless the soul is in charge, because the soul will protect the body, whereas the false self will sabotage it. Rock up. So it's imperative that we start peeling away the false self exposing the true self so that we can be our proper weight. And your proper weight has a lot to do with your proper health. It's all part of the same system. So I'm sitting in Japanese sitting style for the breath of fire, but you can sit in a chair. Actually, I should probably just sit in a chair to show you. So you can sit here. Hands on your knees. This does not move. Nothing up here moves. And this is the isolated transverse abdominis exercise. I'll turn sideways so you can see my belly. When you inhale, the belly goes out like a balloon. And when you exhale with a shh, like you're telling somebody to be quiet in a library and you're kind of mad about it. So you're going to go shh. You see how my belly pulls in? Shh. It tightens it all up. Shh. 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 Nothing moves up here. Shh. 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 You start to spit. Shh, 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 shh. And rest for a second. I had a back, it wasn't me, it was my coworker, and she said, another PT, and she goes, what's that shush sound thing that you do? And I showed her, and she gave it to a back pain patient that was going to go into surgery. He wouldn't do any of the exercises, and he was really fat. He was really big. And I don't mean fat in a bad way, but it was fat, adipose tissue, he was loaded with it. And so he couldn't do any of these exercises she was giving him. And she gave him that. He went home and did that. And he came back. She freaked out. She freaked me out. She came back and said, that guy is not going to surgery. His back is better. And that little exercise kept him out of surgery. So, and that's Teresa. Actually, Teresa's watching this. Teresa got yoga certified later. We worked together in Key West. So big shout out to Teresa. You can validate what I just said. It surprised me. But in a sense, it doesn't. Transverse abdominis all the way around it. It tethers into the fascia of the low back. But then it's also a diaphragm strengthener and a pelvic floor strengthener. And guess what? When the transverse abdominis and the pelvic floor fire together, well, they're part of a triplet. So when the transverse abdominis fires, it automatically fires the pelvic floor up to contract. And it automatically fires the multifidi along the spine. And they're little bitty muscles that crochet up the back that hold the vertebrae together. They are the strongest tensile strength muscles in the body for their size. They're literally holding this, moving the spine in these little, you should take a look. They're like, it looks like a crochet job up the spine. They are firing with the transverse, with the pelvic floor, with the diaphragm. And that's all that's firing. But those are big ones for back pain. Here we go. Shh, 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 it makes you sweat too. It's called breath of fire. So the diaphragm muscle, the muscle under your lungs, is your breathing muscle, and it is the only critical muscle in your skeletal system. Skeletal muscle. It's the only critical skeletal system. I hope you can see it snowing out there. You can't live without it. You can live without any muscle on your body except the diaphragm under the lungs. You have to have it to breathe. So you should train it, you think? It's a skeletal muscle. Okay, so we're going to do a lunge. If you have knee issues, you want to be on a pillow or something cushy or soft under your knees. I like those little, this hurts my knees. I'm going to get a pillow. Hold on. You can also double fold your mat under your knees. I really like those gardening mats that are about yay so big, that you kneel on to do weed. You can get those at the Home Depot. So those are nice to keep around. You can slip them under your knees, and they're jello. Hips face forward, 90, 90, and then walk it out a little forward. We learned the arms yesterday, so let's add them. Arms come up to 160 degrees of flexion here. Give me 10 degrees of extension right behind the heart, maybe a little bit above the heart. Like it's a tiny back bend hitting right here between the tops of the shoulder blades. Then the arms can slide up by the ears. Keep this knitted closed. You're training the top part of the transverse as you lean forward. Now you could go into a big back bend here, but we're not doing back bends. We're stretching the psoas and the hip flexors. So that means the tailbone has to point straight down, the belly in and up. You're in a neutral spine from tailbone to top of the head. You're in concrete coming forward. That means you can't go so far. Breathe, reach, spread the fingers. Reach up and back bend more. Now we are adding the back bend in. Reach up and back bend in the mid back. Reach up and back bend in the top of the low back. You're going deeper into this lunge. Inhale, reach up, and then you can go into the back bend. You can look up, retract the head. Fold forward. Flex the ankle. Head towards knee. You can do this in standing too. Your knee doesn't have to touch the floor. Kind of like a warrior one position. Let's switch sides. Hips face forward. Lunge forward. Keep the neutral. Tailbone down. Belly in and up. Feel the quad. Feel the psoas muscle is an incredibly important muscle. Arms come up. Important because it creates a lot of back pain. 160 degrees. Little back bend in the upper back. Then the arms slide into place. Keep the low front ribs knitted together as you come forward. Breathe. Spread the fingers. Retract your head. So the psoas muscle attaches to the inner thigh right here, and it attaches to the inner thigh. It goes through the center of the body to the back. So it goes from the back to here, and it attaches to every lumbar vertebra you have. You heard that before, right? So the quadratus lumborum, it goes from here to here. And the psoas, those two are culprits in back pain because they attach to every lumbar vertebra. The QL goes out to the hip, and the psoas goes to the inner thigh. And they hold the low body to the spine. So guess what? If the abs are not doing their job, if the abs are not like rocks, if the abs are not strong, that doesn't mean you have to weight train them, or they just want to be worked out every day for about 10 minutes. That's it. But if the abs are not strong, the psoas and the QL will try to take over the job of holding the back to the leg, and they can't do that job. They're wimpy little muscles. They just can't do that job. Arch, arch. Now go into the back bend. Start at the upper back bends, mid back bends, low back bends. Reach deeper into this, sink deeper into it. Breathe, reach up into the heavens, spread your fingers. Breathe. So those little muscles cannot do that job, and they will start screaming at you. Fold forward. And they go into spasm, and they hurt, and that pain. It goes on. And they're because they attach to all the vertebrae, like fingers. When they get tight, they start to bring compression into the vertebrae, which squeezes the discs and the nerves, and now you got real trouble. Now you got sciatica. So they can create a sciatica situation with the nerve pain down the leg. And then bring the foot in, cat-cow. So with the cat-cow, you're going to sway your back. This originates from the tailbone. I'm going over this stuff in detail because in the last weeks I'm not. I'm not going over it in detail. So learn it now. Learn it correctly now. So shoulder blades go down the back as usual. This begins, the tailbone starts to tilt down. This move begins in the pelvis, kind of like a whip, a handle on a whip. It starts with the handle, and then the whip comes off of the handle. The handle is the pelvis. As the pelvis tilts back and the tailbone tilts down, and then the vertebrae come off of the pelvis like the whip coming off of the handle. And again, we start with the handle, so tilt the pelvis forward, lifting the tailbone. So we're articulating through the spine. Tailbone lifts one vertebra at a time, sinks into this, just like retracting your head. Whenever the head comes up, you're going to retract it first. Strengthening, 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 aligning cervical vertebrae appropriately. And again, start with the handle of the whip, which is the pelvis. Tilting it, tilting it, tilting it, tilting it. And then each vertebra starts to come off the whip, off the handle. Last one, tilt the handle down, lifting the tailbone as high as you can, and then close your eyes and just experience how these vertebrae behave like a whip. Retracting the head comes up last. Nice. Sit back, Eastern stretch. One more ab strengthener. Yeah, I said that to a patient the other day. I said, you know what? Your abs need to be like steel. You have back pain. And so he interpreted that as, I can't do that many sit-ups. I can't, that's too hard. For the abs to be like steel, you just have to work them out every day for about 10 to 15 minutes doing Pilates. That's it. They don't really like to be weight trained. Like holding a weight on your chest, don't do that. Please don't do that. So making a fist, push the fist down into the mat, lift up through the torso, push down, and then slide the hand to the corner of your mat for a side plank. You're on a pretend tightrope, elbow, hip, ankle, dorsiflexion, and then you can put the top foot down, press into the floor, just lift the hips slightly off of the mat. This shoulder must go back and down, or you can dislocate. If it's out here in front, if you can see this ball right here, you can dislocate that. It's got to come back and down away from your ear. That stabilizes it. This never goes away. Like if you come up and this goes away, you got to come out. This has to stay. Breathe. You can bring your hand up. You can stack your feet. You can bring a foot up towards the sky. You can do what you want. Kiss your shoulder. Retract first, then kiss the shoulder. This is abs. I had a gal that went to OU, and she said her soccer coach called these Russian abs. And release. Other side. Again, your total health consists of strengthening and stretching every muscle in your body. That has to be done every week. So that's why we work out as many times as we do. Press down, drag to the corner of your mat, shoulder back and down. You're on a pretend tightrope in a straight line. Top foot comes down and lift. Hand can come up or to your side or behind your head, whatever you want, or balance. This is balance too. Breathe like you mean it. Kiss your shoulder. And release. Happy baby. This is my favorite. So you're holding the outer edges of your feet, and you can just rock back and forth. You can rock around if you want to in a circle, back and forth. This is a nice hip stretch. There are over 600 muscles in the body, so strengthening and stretching them all is quite a feat and not doable with a lot of our 8th grade PE kind of stretches, because those stretches only stretch 1 or 2 muscles at a time. And that's why these yoga strengthening and stretching are so powerful. Now, I'm holding the feet, and it's like the Las Vegas. You're just going to try to straighten your knees. Breathe. And then you can let go of your feet and just inner thigh. Tailbone can come down. Ooh. You can bend the knees if you need to. Because these yoga stretches are like these total body stretches that hit hundreds of muscles at once. So if you do enough of these variations, you're bound to hit them all. And most of the time, the yoga poses are strengthening some muscles while stretching others. And then roll up. Oops. And we'll start Tai Chi. Okay, we'll start Tai Chi. I guess you can't see the snow, but it is snowing. Rock through your feet till you find an equal weight distribution across your feet, the tripod, heel, big toe, pinky toe. Now try screw your feet into the ground by shifting the heels towards each other slightly and the balls of your feet away from each other slightly. And then shift your feet apart all at the same time. So you've hyperactivated all of the tiny little stable. Now you feel screwed into the floor. Start over. Try it again. You have that equal weight distribution on the tripods of both of your feet. Now you're going to shift your heels. They don't move, but you shift your heels ever so slightly towards each other, and the balls of the feet move away from each other, and that gives you this screwing sensation. It activates the deep external rotators in the hip. The glute max, this big boy on the back, it's not so much it is it a little bit, but it's the ones under it next to the joint. Because it's such a finesse move, those tiny ones are engaging as you screw the feet into the floor. So the right foot is screwing clockwise, and the left foot is screwing counterclockwise into the floor. And then as you have that screwing sensation, now pull them apart slightly. Okay, and so now the side hips have been recruited and the inner thighs. So these muscles are starting to come into play with that. So all of these muscles are super activated. You're super strong, solid in this pose. Mountain pose. Belly button in, ribs together, shoulders up, back and down. Retract your head. That's becoming very natural to you by now. We've just added the legs to that. You're going to step out on the right foot and flowing like a river, hands behind you like you're on water, like you're waist deep in water. Bring the hands across and step back. Bring it across. So shift forward onto the front foot, lean into it, and then shift backwards onto the back, even flex at the front ankle. All the weight comes to the back leg. Hands are on water, just skimming across the top of the water. When your hands are in the front and your back leg is back here, turned in 45 degrees, press into the outer edge of the back foot, and you'll feel a nice stretch across the lateral compartment of the shin, or the side of the shin, the peroneals. Inhale as you move the water forward. Exhale as you move the water back. Move with your own breath, watching your hands. And the mind's starting to float away. Bring it back. Lasso it and pull it back to the body. Remind it where it is. It's working with the body. It no longer gets to jump around to the past and the future. It stays right here in this moment with the body. The body is always in the present moment. Your body is not in the past, I guarantee it. And your body is not in the future either, unless you have conquered time travel, which you have not. Or you would be on the nightly news. So the body is always in the present moment. It's always here in the now. It's always in the real. This is real. The past does not exist. It is no longer here. The future is not real either. It's not existent. It does not exist. So remind the mind that it has no business in the past. Ruminating is destructive, where you repeat negative thoughts or negative events over and over. Very destructive in psychology. So bouncing around in the past is very destructive. We got to go to the future every once in a while. We do plans and goals, but the soul is spontaneous and it changes, and so just know that the future is going to bounce around. The future is going to change and be spontaneous, and you're going to change and be spontaneous with it. Hey man, I'm in Alaska. But the only way you can do it, because if the mind is trapped in the past, reliving the past over and over, it won't be able to move into the future spontaneously with change. It won't stay, it has to be in the present to move into the future. Other side. Ooh. You get so used to going in that pattern, it's almost like you can't get out of it. Okay. Go this way. Pull it towards you. Shift onto the back leg. 100% of my weight's on the back leg. Bring it around, back behind you. Reach out in front of you. 100% of my weight's on the front leg. Look, I can pick up the back leg. Shifting your weight back and forth. Just running your hands across the tops of the water. Use the imagination of the mind. The mind has this amazing imagination. That's how it invented the false self. It created the false self to protect you. Its imagination did. So let's use the imagination in a more productive way, a more creative way. Creativity is the way it should be used. Remember, the soul is creative. The mind can help the soul. The mind is the horse that's harnessed to the body, that's pulling the cart that the soul is driving. So the soul needs the mind, the imagination of the mind, to help it in its creativity. The mind is not supposed to take over. It's to assist the soul in its creative endeavors. So match the mind back up with the body so the soul can use it. Use the imagination. Imagine the water. Imagine the color of the water. And your hands, like your fingertips, making ripples in the water. Even wiggle your fingers to make the ripples. Couple the imagination with the body. Good practice. Exhaling forward, inhaling back. And then release. Ooh, let's work on the legs. We are going to hug a tree once again. We've got to get strong there. Okay, so same thing. Feet, tripod on both of the feet. Screw them into the floor by the heels, coming ever so slightly towards each other. And then shift the feet away from each other to pull in the sides of the legs. Belly in and up. So you are not only are you rooted, but you are a solid tree trunk. All the muscles of the legs are activated. Belly in and up, close the ribs, shoulders up, back and down. Upper body muscles are activated, stabilizers. And then hug a tree. Elbows down. This pulls in the rotator cuff, the outward rotators of the cuff. Keep the legs activated, the shoulder blades activated. They're pulling down the back. Belly pulls in and up. The top of your head is reaching towards the heavens. The feet are grounding into the earth. Squeeze your quads. Squeeze your thighs. Be a real tree. Feel the trunk through the entire body. Oh, the branches, the arms don't seem to have to do as much work. Make sure there's an equal contraction on both halves of the back, both hips, both glutes. If one glute is softer than the other, you got to rev up the other one until it matches it. Your pelvis is squared and level. Change the way you're standing until that happens. Get fascinated with your breath. Watch it roll into your lungs and roll out. Gaze at your fingers. Look at your joints, your fingernails, your hands. Keep the mind here. And release. Woo! Starts to burn. Okay. Well, we will start our meditation. So we'll begin this meditation just affirm that we'll be different after this meditation than we were before. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let go of any tension. Drop your jaw. Release around your eyes and around your mouth. Imagine becoming more relaxed with every breath. If there's any tension or any wrinkles or anything, rings you want to take off that you notice, maybe remove your glasses, any of that. Just get that much more comfortable. Focus your awareness on your head and notice the sensation in your face. Loosen up any tension in your face and feel it relax. Feel behind the eyes. Release intention. Relax your forehead, your jaw, around your eyes. Let your tongue go soft. Now bring the awareness to your shoulders. Let your shoulders drop. Release all the way down your arms, all the way to your fingertips. Your hands soften. Your throat softens. Chest lets go. Glutes spread like jelly. Thighs let go. Kneecaps float. Release all the way to your your toes. See a ball of energy in your heart. Notice a tingling sensation that's beginning to grow. Imagine a ball of energy in your heart spinning faster and faster, and as it spins, you are feeling more and more relaxed, more and more comfortable, more and more your true, authentic self. Now visualize the best possible version of yourself that you can imagine. Imagine what you would be doing in a certain scenario. Maybe it's doing your passion for a living. Maybe it's an ideal job that you have, or running your own company. Whatever it is, imagine it vividly and in detail. Imagine how you would carry yourself. What kind of body language do you have? How do people respond to you? What are you seeing? Imagine the colors going brighter and brighter. What are you hearing? Imagine the sounds getting louder and louder. Most importantly, how do you feel about yourself? How does it feel to be doing your passion for a living? How does it feel to express yourself 100%? How does it feel for other people to acknowledge you for your gifts that you share with the world? How does it feel to be curious, to grow, to learn, to change? Now go over to the mirror and look at yourself. See how relaxed you are in your mind's eye. There's a shine to your face and a look in your eyes. As you look at yourself in the mirror, what kind of beliefs do you have about who you are? What are your beliefs about money? What are your beliefs about relationships? What can you accomplish in your life? How does it feel to know that you can create whatever you want in your life? You are a co-creator with God. As you imagine looking at yourself in the mirror, I want you to make the colors brighter and brighter. The colors are more vivid. You can really see yourself and feel that that is who you are now. Peeling away the false beliefs that have limited you so far, but no more. This is who you are. This is your new self-image, your true self. This is who you choose to be. No longer following the beliefs of the past, the beliefs that no longer serve you. These affirmations are true in this moment. Peel away the claims, the neurotic claims of I deserve, I should be this, I should be that. Peel that falseness away. The self-entitlement of I deserve, peel that away. Leaving the true self, the fruit. I appreciate who I am, my true self. I am the perfect body weight for me. I am confident and I trust the course of my life that is ever-changing and growing, spontaneous. I am a new person. I am open to receiving new things, new ideas, new challenges. I am open to new opportunities. I am open to receive. I was born to be happy. I was born to walk out my purpose. I am abundant, and amazing opportunities flow into my life. I am who I was born to be. I am my true self. I love who I am. I no longer need the protection of the false self. Love is who I am. I'm confident in my choices. that are given to me. I am free to be myself. I am free to express myself. My future is bright. As I come alive, my future is full of opportunities, and I can feel them now. I know and trust that things will happen when they are meant to happen. I am grateful for everyone in my life. I love that people are excited to be around me. I accept myself as who I am today. I am whole and complete as I am today. I love that I don't need approval from other people. I love myself. I accept myself as I am. I am worthy. I am enough. Now imagine a ball of energy around your heart, relaxing you. Spinning faster and faster. This image is your new self-image. This is who you are meant to be. Now we're going to release the false self-image forever. Imagine that you are looking at a movie screen, and on that movie screen you see your old self-image. The person you were before you started this meditation. That person, that you is no longer you. That was the conditioned version of you, the false self version of you. Imagine that version of you getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. It's hard to even imagine the old you. The colors now fade to black and white. And as you look at this old version of you, you feel like it was you from the past. You recognize that now you can let that version of you go. Imagine you are looking in the right-hand corner of the movie screen. Now you see your real self, your new self-image, the soul, the true self. As you're looking at the true self, the colors are getting brighter and brighter. The colors are now more vivid, and the picture in the right-hand corner of the screen is getting bigger and bigger. And now it covers the whole screen. This is now all you can see. This is your new self-image. This is who you are. From this moment on, you are a completely new person. You will find people responding to you in a new way. People will notice a glow about you and how your energy is full of passion. And most importantly, you will feel completely different about yourself. You are confident. You have self-esteem. You own self-love. You accept yourself. You are vibrant and alive. You are living, and you feel a new purpose within you that grows day by day. Imagine that ball of energy around your heart, spinning faster and faster, bringing more and more relaxation throughout your body. In a moment, I will count to 3. You could choose to go to sleep, at which point you will find yourself slipping off into a peaceful sleep. Or you can remain awake, and you will find yourself feeling present, alert. 1, take a deep breath in and feel the relaxation flow through your body. 2, take another deep breath in. Exhale slowly. 3, take in one more deep breath and exhale fully, feeling refreshed, calm, and confident. You are a new person. This is who you are. This is who you were meant to be, the true self. And all that that means. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Choose 3 blessings in your life and give thanks. As you exhale, lower your ego mind below your compassionate heart in reverence. Inhale as you rise, and namaste. See you next week.
This is the false self. This is the neurotic self. We are all this banana, all of us, from age 4 to 5 on. This peeling is made up of false claims, shoulds. I should do this, I should do that. I deserve this, I deserve that. It's completely encompassing and closing. There's no way in. This is the persona, the false self that we have created around us. This is your breaking point. This is self-realization, studying, growing, changing, changing, changing. This is self-actualization. This is what we call finding ourselves. We're finding ourselves. We're peeling back the neurotic layers and pulling them away, cleaning it up. And this is the true self buried under the false self. It's authentic. It's transparent. It's obvious. It's vulnerable. This is the fruit. This is the soul. This is the true self. Our entire work in life is to get rid of this so that we can live this. This holds our purpose, our mission, our relationships, our happiness. This is the payoff.